you're potentially only a couple of months out, maybe a few weeks out from concert season right now. The costumes are arriving, the rehearsals are ramping up, and the to-do list, it's getting longer by the minute. But here's the thing, being busy doesn't always mean being show ready. So are you show ready or are you a show wreck? Look, today we're going to be talking about this critical topic at this time of year where we're ramping up to show season. We're going to talk about your profit plan, your communication, your preparation, keeping parents in the loop, in and out of the chaos. We're also going to be talking about remembering the magic. Yeah, remembering the magic. So let's dive into this episode. I'm Josephine Lancuba and welcome to Studio Talent Collective, the podcast for dance and performing arts studio owners. Here we share industry insights, inspiring stories, and real talk to help you build a thriving studio and in-house talent agency. As a performing arts business coach and talent agent, I'm all about dreaming big and growing together as a community. You're in the right place. Let's leap in. Welcome to episode 217 of Studio Talent Collective, the podcast. Woohoo! It is nearly showtime, right? I actually want to also just make a point because, this time last year or whatever, I actually did a pop-up series. It was called Show Mode, and it's on this podcast if you just flick back. So if you look at episodes, there was a 5-part series, episodes 167 all the way through to 171. If you flick back, I actually did some great episodes there around, concert preparation. It was called Show Mode, and it was really huge value. So we did talk then about, marketing gold, budgeting for concert profits, delivering a powerful director speech, mastering your concert communication, and we also talked about concert systems for costumes. So if any of that tickles your fancy, do flick back after listening to this episode to episodes 167 through to 171, where we did our Show Mode pop-up series here on the podcast. Okay, so now that I've explained all of that fun stuff, let's talk about this because you might be around the corner from your show. Even if you're not, guys, for our overseas friends that are listening, and we've had lots of downloads from the US and the UK recently, mostly the US actually. So if you're listening, I'd love you to also just, take this on the chin in relation to the timeline of when you're listening and just apply it to your next concert season or recital or show season. Yeah. It's all much of a muchness, but let's talk about these main talking points that I really want to cover today. And the first one is that I want to talk about your profit plan. Yeah, not just your run sheet. We want to talk about concert profits. Now, remembering that it's not just a performance, this is a business project. And so knowing your numbers is very important. Now, you probably have already released your tickets. You've priced them, you've put them out. So, you'll have particular ticket targets. I'm assuming merchandise margins that you want to be looking at, like what sort of profit margin are you making on everything from programming to the t-shirt to the rose that you sell at the front reception, like all of that stuff. Your photo and your video packages, making sure that you're making money from those guys. Honestly, the amount of studios that just palm this off to a company with a break even or no profit at all is crazy. You could be leveraging photo and video packages for a profit. So I really want that. Program advertising. If you haven't organized your programs yet, contact your local businesses and charge a fee to advertise in the program. It doesn't matter if it's even just a couple of $100, $100. It might be $1,000 depending on the size of your business and the reach of how many people are going to see this program. Like I would get in touch and get people sponsoring, get sponsors for your program, right? You can also do particular backstage VIP sales. Now, even if you've already released your tickets, guys, one of my clients actually road tested this concept they had of VIP tickets. Doesn't matter if you've already released your tickets, you can add this as an extra VIP upgrade. So it can be as simple as, if it's not VIP seating because you've already released your tickets, then that's okay. But if you haven't released your tickets, then you can give them VIP seating, which might be, the front 2 rows or whatever, the dress circle, I don't know, depending on your theatre and space. But, the ideal couple of rows of seating. So that's not just the VIP though. You can get that they might have a goodie bag on arrival with chocolates and a drink or a packet of chips from the canteen. I'm making it up, but you get the point. A $10 voucher at the mini bar, It could also include photos with their child on stage before or after the show. Before is better. So if you can, even if your scheduling is tight, this can be a 20-minute pre-entry experience where your VIPs get to enter 20 minutes before doors open and they get photos on the stage with their child before the show starts in their first costume. So this could be, they can use their phones and take the photos, like the teachers do it. But you can, if you've got a professional photographer on site, they can also grab an extra photo for you as well. And this is all included. But yeah, goodie bag, premium seating, early entry, and photo on stage with their child. Now, this VIP offer is an upgrade to their ticket. If you've already, and like I said, if you've already sold out your best seats, don't worry about it. Just, do an upgrade of the goodie bag and the photo backstage, the backstage pass, VIP backstage pass. Maybe they get a lanyard, right, around the neck. My point being is you would be surprised what people pay for. Do you know how many people would love that? Especially those newbies and those little leagues and all that. They love it. They love it. And a studio owner who's a client of mine road tested this concept that I had, this VIP backstage pass. And it went gangbusters. People paid premium for it. Let's say you charge it, you upgrade the ticket $50 for this experience. I'm making it up, of course. And even if you sell 10 of them, it's $500 right there just for opening your doors 20 minutes and getting a few photos and putting a goodie bag on their seat, having it ready for them on arrival. I just think if you can be creative, be creative. Also, if you haven't released your tickets yet, you are missing out if you're not doing tiered seating. If you don't have A reserve, B reserve, C reserve, or, theatre style versus table seating, whatever your vibe is, whatever the space is, you are missing out on extra income. So that doesn't mean you bring down the other tickets. You increase what your usual price is for those best seats of the house. Tiered seating for the win. Put in the effort and do it. You will make extra money. Okay? Cutting costs, guys. Get really clear on your staffing schedule and do not waste money on people that are on site unnecessarily. Bump in time for the whole team is 1:00. Does Johnny and Sarah really need to be there at 1:00, or can they bump in 2 hours later because they're just assisting backstage when the kids arrive? Get clear on the schedule, because that could be a few $100s in wages right there. Every little thing you do can save you money or make you money if you put in that little bit of effort. Now, this is critical because a lot of people walk away from a concert or a show, sometimes not even paying themselves. Imagine you sold $500 extra in VIP backstage passes and you saved $300 in wages just because you got it together. You got your SHIT together and you really thought about your schedule with your staff. That's $800 right there. Boom, $800 in your pocket. In your pocket. We think about the costuming and all of the things. Do we need to embellish the trimming on that skirt with the sequence that's going to cost us an extra $1,000 to do? Not really. Not really. Not if you're not paying yourself. Not if you're not getting any money from concert season or show week. If you're not getting $1 from show week, forget the glitter and the sequence on the bottom of your costume and paying, Grandma Susie to sew it on or sit there for 20 hours of your time when you could be doing money-making activities like releasing tiered seeding. Don't waste your time. No one cares about the glitter or the sequins. It's a nice to have, and if you're in the position to do that, fabuloso. But if you're not, and you don't pay yourself, and you are stretched to the limit and you're working around the clock and no one's paying extra for that glitter on that skirt or that sequence or that sparkle, let it go. No one cares. Not really. Not at this level. Yeah? Not at this level. And what I mean by this level is I'm not trying to reduce or minimize the professional, environments of studio, but it's not Broadway. It's not, dancing at the Capitol Theatre. Like, we can get a bit realistic about who we serve and just minimize those embellishes. So my tip would be, get a budget together. Actually, budgeting for concert profits. If you go to episode 168 of this podcast, it's an oldie but a goodie, our show mode pop-up series. We talk about budgeting for concert profits. And I think I even give away, let's have a look. Yeah, I do. I have some resources and tools in that. So yeah, do check it out. This was when my podcast was still called Studio Biz and all that jazz. The name of the show has changed 3 times. Do you know that? When I first started, it was called Business Arts and all that jazz. Then I changed it to Studio Biz and all that jazz. And now it's Studio Talent Collective, the podcast. So it's always interesting, the evolution, right? And again, I always talk about evolution in business and how, you're allowed to change. Yeah, you're allowed to change. But honestly, if you don't want to be a show wreck and you want to be show ready, get that budget plan together. And I don't mean numbers in your head. I mean a spreadsheet with all of your expenses, every intricate, tiny detail, all of your expenses and all of your income opportunities. And if they don't meet at a break even or are in the red, if they are in the red, or even if you're at a break even, I want you to think creatively or being a little ruthless on some of the expenses. I want you to think about how you can walk away with money from the event because you deserve to be paid. Okay, so I want you to get ruthless with the expenses and I want you to be creative with your income opportunities. Yeah, it could be an affiliate deal with the local florist where you don't have any out-of-pocket costs, but for every rose they sell, you get you get a referral fee or a kickback or X% per rose. So you don't have to buy stock, but every person you forward sell, you arrange the package with them. We want this, and with a little thank you note and the dance studio logo on the tag, we'll give you the tags. We're going to send everyone to you to order and deliver these things, and we're going to take X dollars from each sale. How does that sound? We're going to bring you business. Let's work together. Let's collaborate. How creative can you be? Who can you connect with? Who can you get to sponsor your program or your event? Who can you work with to make more money? Yeah. So I want you to think about that. Remember, especially when you collaborate with other businesses, they are benefiting too. So it's a win-win situation. Maybe if they sponsor your program for, a few $100s, you not only put them in the program, but you also do a social media shout out with a link to their services and an email blast to your database. How can you package the offer to be appealing? Yeah. Give them numbers and stats. We've got 1,000 people in our database, 3,000 followers on social media, and 100 students. Okay, great. With 500 guests at the show in your local catchment, all locals in front of your business. You can even do a thank you to your sponsors on the stage, which will be recorded and distributed to all of the videos. Tell the client whatever they need so that you can charge premium for sponsorship. Okay, I'm getting super passionate about this. All right, we need to take a breath. I get very passionate about profit because too many studio owners work for free. Like, just too many. That's all. and I want you to be paid. And I think that's really important. And, you know, I took a stance in my business many, many years ago that I was going to put profit first and then I was going to pay myself a salary. And yeah, once you do that, you just cannot look back. And so to make that salary possible, we have to look at opportunities for income generating activities and cost reducing activities. And that's what this is about. So all you have to do is, you know, run a mini profit forecast. It's not too late. It's not too late, even if you've released tickets and whatever. It's not too late to boost income streams before showtime. I promise you. So make sure that you head back to that episode 167, Budget for Concert Profits. Okay, so that was my main talking point number 1. So let's move into main talking point number 2. Communicate like a pro, not in panic mode. All right, so clarity. Clarity kills chaos, yeah? So your team, your parents, and your students should know what's happening before they ask. Yeah, they should know. Anyway, sometimes we communicate so many ways and they still don't know. I mean, there's always going to be one, isn't there? I always like to say communication 4 ways. I used to call it the 3-way communication, but now I call it 4 ways. And that is email, text, like private portal, which might be a Facebook group, a band app group, whatever, website login, private portal, and live video. So live video messaging, whether that be through the portals or to phone or video or email, whatever. But yeah, so email, text, portal, you know, communication portal like a Facebook group, and live video. And if you're utilizing all of those communication tools, then, you know, one would hope that they get the message. One would hope. One hopes, right? So you want to communicate like a pro. So, you know, obviously you want to be creating that concert handbook, you know, or update last year's that you have. This builds confidence and calm across your studio community, making sure that in that handbook you have a table of contents so they can easily navigate costumes, schedules, etc., like easily navigate it. You know, the awards that you're going to be given, expectations, pricing, merchandise for sale, etc. And just that, you know, schedule weekly those concert bulletins. You know, you want to drip feed those updates. So from here to now showtime, you want to be drip feeding that information every week. Like have a scheduled bulletin, concert bulletin, yeah, which is scheduled weekly. So if I look back at the series that I did, I'm just going back to my show mode series to see which episode might be helpful for that. I think it might have been 168, and that's where we talk about all the handbooks and whatnot. But yeah, do flash back to that. Here we go. Oh no. Master your concert communications. That was 170. Yeah. Episode 170, show mode, master your concert communication will really help you there as well. So just make sure that you're touching base on that and you will be set, my friends. Okay, so we've talked about, you know, your profit plan, your communication. Now we're going to jump into preparation, keeping parents in the loop and out of the chaos, and remembering the magic. So stay tuned.
Studio owners, are you ready to add a fresh income generating class without hiring extra staff? Set the Scene is your plug and play acting program designed just for dance and performing arts studios. Created by a studio owner for studio owners. No drama degree needed, just space on your timetable. Position your studio as a leader in performing arts while nurturing creativity, confidence, and life skills in every student. Head to setthescene.kids or head to the links in the show notes to see how studio owners across Australia and the USA are elevating their studios with Set the Scene and how you can too. On with the show.
Okay, let's dive into the third point, main talking points of today's episode. So I wanted to talk about preparation. Yeah, prepping your people as well. Your team are the heartbeat of show season. So you want to check their workload, confirm roles, scheduling, and really set expectations early. You don't want the situation that I had many, many years ago, which I call my constant nightmare. The worst experience I've ever had in my life running an event. First and last time it ever happened, I actually had to fire staff on the spot at the event and tell them just to leave. Like, it was that bad. It was the most horrendous experience I've ever had. I've come a long way, leaps and bounds, you might say, from that day in the theatre. I mean, aside from really poor parent behaviour, which I had to deal with at the time, we then had a staff member who was 18 that I put on supervision of our mini stars program, our littlies, and they refused to do it, saying it was insulting. Mind you, they were a training teacher, 18 years old, and never been backstage at a performance in their lives. And so I put them on supervision and support for our littlies, and yeah, they just thought that was beneath them and that they should be front and center helping to direct the children on stage in their rehearsals. Yeah, very interesting, that's for sure. But hey, some mothers do have them, eh? So it was they just refused. This team member refused to do what I asked them to do and support the show in the way that I needed them to support it. And I just said, well, there's no point in you being here, and you can go home, and thank you very much, but you're not working for us anymore. It was abiding by our contract. They were a casual, and, I had to pay them out for the rest of the shift or whatever the agreement was and give X amount of days notice. But I said, consider this your notice. And then I put it in writing the next day, and away they went. Like, I'm not interested in that behavior. Anyway, oh my God, that just brought back memories of the drama. Gotta love a little drama in your life. We did get better at things after that. But yeah, and and I can take accountability for that too. I mean, maybe this would have been brought up earlier, that there was an issue, or we could have talked through it or whatever, if I'd sort of not just given them their roles and responsibilities on the day of the event in the staff briefing. Like, really what I could have done and should have done in hindsight was let them know what their roles and responsibilities were prior to the event day. Maybe that would have diminished it. Maybe she would have lowered her expectations and she would have had time to get over it or ask questions or, whatever, not in the mix of the chaos, the organised chaos, I like to call it. But anyway, yeah, look, I think making sure that they're prepared, obviously we also want to have good preparation for our students. We want to have good preparation for our team, but also for ourselves. I mean, and when we think about preparation, we often think about the work, but I want you to think about you as a person too, and making sure, you're not leaving yourself unfed or without water for several hours. You know what it's like. Sometimes you're like, I don't have time to go to the toilet. I want you to have time to go to the toilet. I want you to have, nourishing food with you on the day, or have a food order organized for delivery prior. Like, I want you to think about this because, is your team well fed? Do you have allocated break times when you should? Sometimes studios blur the lines when it comes to these sorts of events. And I know in New South Wales, I think it's, 5 hours or whatever, and they have to take a mandatory 30-minute break or something. But don't quote me on that. I know, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But making sure that you've got that sorted and that people aren't just working through not eating, not going to the toilet. Like, have some preparation in place for that loving up yourself, your students and your team. Because the preparation will reduce the overwhelm on the day and the chaos, and that's really important. You want to make sure that you're checking their workload, you're confirming their roles, and setting expectations early. Yeah. Okay, so here's a tip. Have a quick show huddle meeting to align everyone's responsibilities before the tech week chaos begins. So don't just wait to show day. Yes, I would always on the day have a team meeting brief on arrival. But I also want to make sure that you're doing a bit of a show huddle prior. So it could just be a Zoom room meeting. Pay them. Like, it's a compulsory Zoom room meeting. It's 30 minutes, jump in, or 1 hour or whatever. It's paid, it's compulsory. All team members that are supporting the event that are part of our production team need to attend the show huddle. Yeah, so just making sure that you do that. And, reward your team for their extra effort, their recognition. Getting that recognition rather really fuels the morale. It doesn't have to be expensive, doesn't have to be gifts, but just looking after your team, I think that's really important. I do mention in the preparation side of things on episode 169, part of my show mode pop-up series on this podcast, deliver a powerful director's speech with Jennifer Natali. Go back and listen, because I think that preparing your speech is a critical moment where you can increase your industry credibility, really put authority and a personal brand presence to your studio, and also use it to leverage whatever's coming up and celebrate the wins, but also what's coming up in the studio that people can be excited about. There's a lot of opportunity and power in the studio director's speech at the event. If you bypass it and you don't do it, do it. If you don't like speaking live, pre-record it and have it as a video presentation for a couple of minutes on stage. Don't not do it, is what I'm saying. Yeah, so as part of your preparation, I want you to consider the powerful director's speech. So yeah, flick back to 169 if you need support and ideas and inspiration for that. But preparation is key. Yeah, staffing, preparation, all the things that is going to equal your sanity on the day. All right, so that was number 3. So number 1 was your profit plan. Number 2, communication. Number 3, preparation. Number 4, keep parents in the loop and out of the chaos. Look, parents love to support you when they know what's going on. Backstage volunteer signups, your decision. Personally, I don't want parents backstage. Maybe once or twice we would have someone that, was a qualified teacher and a parent backstage. Other than that, I'm just not into it. But you might be. So whatever the deal is, you want to make sure that you're organizing volunteer signups or saying no to the volunteers, whatever your decision is. But really keeping parents in the loop about drop off and pick up instructions, costume reminders in an easy format. I think, again, drip feeding that information is really important because of the information overload that we all experience in 2025 and beyond. Instead of information overload, we want it to be more of a customer delight and thoughtful communication approach rather than, boom, here's everything you need to know for next week. Yeah, that's not what we want. We don't want that. So, I think you can do it in a better way. So that communication piece, and again, episode 170, we talk about mastering your constant communication. I'm referring a lot to this show mode series. A lot of work went into it. I even did like a live presentation to studio owners and had a whole course backed on it and everything at the time. Like, it was a whole vibe. So the podcasts are actually really high value. So do check them out. Obviously there's an offer in there that no longer really exists, but don't worry about that. It's more just that free, informative content that will support you. That's what it's about. Okay. Yeah. So keep parents in the loop. The more communication you have with the parents, keep them in the loop, the better the outcome, the less chaos there will be on the day. Number 5, remember the magic. All right, remember the magic. Remember your why. I want you to do that, really. I want you to do this first and foremost, especially if you've been running your studio for 100 years. I want you to write down why you're even running this event in the first place. Like, why do you run an end of year production? There's no right or wrong answer to your why, but I want you to know the why and I want you to deeply connect to it. Like, what is it really about for you and for the people you serve. So amid the spreadsheets and the dress rehearsals and, all of that, I want you to really pause and reconnect with your why. This is going to help you. Okay. Funnily enough, last week I just did an episode. I totally forgot this when I said that out loud. Last week I did an episode on pause or end up broke, taking a necessary beat. So the pause, the power of the pause, reconnecting to your why. Look, we know that the concert, the show, the recital is the moment your students are going to shine. Yeah, but it's also when your brand comes to life. It's a win-win situation. You really want to protect that joy for yourself, your team, and your community. You want to protect that joy. And whatever happens, no matter what, if you get one a-hole, and we all know there's always one after a show who emails you with the most ridiculous complaint, it's going to probably happen. It's likely there's always one. It could just be as silly as, the video or the costume, or, they didn't know that pickup was moved 30 minutes later because there was a schedule change because they didn't get any of the communication, even though you did communication 4 ways. Whatever it is, remember the magic. And 99.9% of your clients who are really happy with the experience. So don't fall down the rabbit hole of latching onto the one negative comment. I mean, there may be valuable feedback in it. Maybe it's a total write-off, but either way, just remember your why and connect to that and the magic of the event, and remembering everyone that really had a beautiful experience. Because it's all about that performance with purpose, isn't it? We really want to have that performance with a purpose. And that's what being in the arts is about, And I think we can forget that in the hustle bustle of showtime. We're all in show mode, right? But I think, just remember the magic. What things can you do as well to make it extra special? Are you going to roll out the red carpet for your student arrivals with cameras set up and filming them waving and coming through the theatre door? Whatever it is, remember the magic. Yeah, remember the magic. All right, so they're my 5 key talking points for today when we talked about, that show readiness. So we want to avoid the show wreck. We want to be show ready instead. Yeah, so just focusing on your profit plan, really communicate like a pro, not in panic mode. Prepare your people, keep parents in the loop and out of the chaos, and remember the magic, yeah? So whether you're weeks out or months away, it's not too late. It's not too late to shift from chaos to control and from stressed to show ready. This concert season, let's really build something that's not only spectacular on stage, but profitable and peaceful behind the scenes. Etch out the time for this. This is worth your time to put together that plan and to put together not just your show plan, but your profit plan as well. I want you to revisit that. If you've done one already, revisit it now that you're thinking creatively and ruthlessly at the same time. Okay, show ready or show wreck, you decide. Thank you so much for listening to Studio Talent Collective, the podcast. It's just an awesome experience being your host, and I can't wait to hear your feedback online, on socials, via our emails, all the things. If you want to reach out, podcast@josephinelancuba.com, and that is in the show notes. Thanks, friends. Bye.
This episode is brought to you by Studio Talent Collective, helping you go from studio owner to talent manager with confidence. Ready to start your own in-house talent agency? Connect with me at josephinelancuba.com or via the links in the show notes. If you enjoyed this episode, please share, rate, and review. Thanks for listening, and keep shining.